comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. By idiots, for idiots. Welcome, sinners. This is Sports Idiot Nation.
Welcome into Sports Idiot Nation. We mentioned before, it is spooky season. Today is Halloween. So we definitely have to talk just all things Halloween. So joined by, of course, Miles Behind Enemy Lines and Mr. T.I. or, well, Garth, I guess.
Garth Algar. Swing.
So let's ask this first. Favorite costumes ever worn? And I will start by saying Bane was my best because I nailed it. I found a jacket online for $25 that had the fur where you could flip the collar and it just looked sharp like Bane.
So you were the Tom Hardy Bane.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so
I had
the ridiculous,
the ridiculous looking
Bane. It's a wrestler. A wrestler played him. I can't remember who it is, but I think it's a wrestler that played him.
Wasn't it or something? Or
I don't know. But anyway, yeah.
So
I
had
that Bane.
the tan pants. I had some black shoes. I had a really decent looking mask that I also found online. And just, it's cold outside. It's Halloween. So I have the coat. I'm just walking around. It was perfect. Like, to be honest, I have the side by side of the real Bane or Tom Hardy and me. And I put that, I think it's on my Tinder profile. I swear to you. It's on one of the dating web, like whatever it's on. And I get comments like, "Oh, you look great." Like, can't get a date. But
is it on your Bumble site too?
Right, pretty much. That, and then when I was 7, I was Charlie Brown, and a homemade yellow T-shirt with a black zigzag in marker. That was epic. Other than that, I have no kids that I know of, and I don't know. Halloween's a crapshoot for me. Like, I don't like scary movies. We'll get into that. But, like, that was it. Bane and Charlie Brown. Miles, you are wearing a onesie. You are a penguin. Great television show.
Cobblepot, of course. Yes.
On a HBO, or no, it's just It's just
Max. Yeah.
Max. Yeah.
Yeah, just Max.
Amazing show.
Did they buy Cinemax or something and be like, let's just merge? Like,
they
I
had
thought
a
that
baby
was weird.
or something. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, no, it was their stunt to go at Peacock and saying you need to drop the P.
Fair.
Solid.
What were some of your other costumes?
Well, last year I got a scarf, and that's all I needed to be Felonious Gru, which was one of my best of all time. But I would argue I wasn't even the best on this panel that's repped Felonious Gru before, because Adam, you and I kind of look alike. So I know you've done Felonious Gru before. There's no doubt you've done that. I did it for work, and I have 3 people under me, and they all went as minions. And they call themselves Miles Minions. And there's like an actual work folder, like an official folder that's Miles Minions. So I actually pulled that off even better than I thought I would. Just did the full shave all the way around, and I weighed about 30 more pounds than I do now. So if you think I'm overweight now, I definitely was last year, but I look the part. I probably could do the voiceover better than Steve Carell too. I always remember after 9/11, I was Bob the Builder. I was rocking the overalls with like the plaid shirt underneath, and had, because they were old overalls, took a big Sharpie and put "God Bless the USA" on the back. Got a lot of great candy that year. And then throwing it all the way back to 1990, remember the videos of being Alf, the first Halloween costume for Halloween at the zoo up there in Fort Wayne. Me sleeping in the stroller wearing Alf is pretty dope. It still holds up to this day.
Nice.
Sleeping in the stroller wearing Alf, man. Alf, such a great show.
Melmac.
Still love Alf. He's like, how do you work the oven or something? He's like, well, the cat won't fit in the microwave, you know. Good guy, man. Such a crazy show. It's such a time. It's such a time too, because you got the dinosaur show, and you got Alf, and like shows like that just won't. They won't fly today. They won't work. Like studios won't do it. It's like, nah, we don't want that. Like
Right.
Fraggle Rock could not be popular today. Sesame Street's still big, but come on, man. Puppets are the puppets and the humans on television shows a big thing in the 80s. Man, I loved Alf. That's great. I'm glad that you're Alf. That's fantastic. I remember those old like masks that would suffocate you that look like serial killer masks, I still have a photo of me of Casper the Ghost, and it is like nightmare fuel, man. I'm like sitting on this
Wasn't friendly.
No, not at all. Sitting on my grandmother's weird couch, in the 80s, all grandmothers had these weird floral print couches, but I'm just like sitting there chilling, eating candy, wearing just like shorts and a tank top, but I've got that Casper mask on, and it's just like, ooh, that kid looks evil, I mean, it's like the movie the Strangers, when they show up wearing the weird mask. That's what those reminded me of. But yeah, I had all those. You name it, I was in any of them. It was Snoopy, or like you said, Charlie Brown, or like anybody in that time frame, He-Man.
Oh man.
But my favorite, I've got a few favorites in different time frames. Like as a kid, I did one where I was a ghost, and my mom did really good. Like I had eye paint, I had face, I had like the sheets, I had chains, I had like everything. I legit looked like just a old timey representation of a ghost. But that was when I was real young. But when I got a little older, started getting exposed to horror movies. Like I said, we've talked before. My mom was, she didn't really, there wasn't much guidance. It was like, do whatever you want. Don't go to jail. Don't make bad grades. And I don't care what you do. And I was watching horror movies young age. And so I was Freddy Krueger one year, and she helped me with the makeup. I had the fake skin on. I made claws out of tinfoil. It was great. That was probably my favorite costume as a kid. And then the next year I went as Jason Voorhees. And then it was just kind of like, from there, Ghostbusters. Me and my buddies did Ghostbusters. And that was always great. And it was pretty legit. Had the full on, had the proton pack, the toy one, of course, but had the full suit. Had a Ghostbusters belt. Had a Ghostbusters little patch on my arm. Like, it was pretty legit. And one year, this is a pretty good one. One year, my wife and three of my friends, we went as Miss Pac-Man. The whole thing. So we all dressed up. We all dyed our sheets and cut holes in them. And we were Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and
Inky, Binky, Bonky. Daddy
Inky,
had a
Blinky,
donkey.
Pinky, and Sue. Sue.
Yes, Sue.
Yeah.
Yes.
Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Sue. And my wife was Miss Pac-Man, and so she had the red bow in her hair. She had a yellow shirt. She had a red skirt. She had red boots, red gloves, and it was great, right? But what was the funny part was, at some point, she went with some of her friends to a few things, and we were meeting back up. And of course, like whenever you get separated, you never meet back up when you should, and it was a while before we were all back together. And so like she had to basically like explain to people all night why she looked like a hooker, and it was like, it didn't look like a traditional Halloween hooker where you just dress up in some cute stuff. Like, it's the ladies one night to dress up like a slut, but,
right.
So she's like explaining the whole time, like, no, I'm actually Miss Pac-Man, but the rest of my cohorts aren't here. And once we finally got up, she was like, yeah, thanks for making me basically explain to everybody that I'm not a prostitute all night, because I mean, red boots, red gloves, short skirt, I mean, she pulled off Miss Pac-Man well. But those are some of my favorite ones. But as I got older, man, I hate to say it, I just didn't dress up as much. I have worn this Ghostbusters shirt many Halloweens, but this is the OG original, Ghostbuster shirt that I've had, for many, many years. So I cherish it. But and then last year, hence this costume, my wife and I went as Wayne and Garth, and she was actually Garth and I was Wayne. But I thought tonight, just throw on the Garth, why not? A lot of people don't see me ever without the sunglasses on, so I already had these on, so it was fitting,
Love it. Let's talk a little candy too. So name candy, obviously Reese's, Kit Kat, Butterfinger, Nestle Crunch, 100 grand, all those. Yes, that kind of goes without saying. But what I want to know is, first of all, are you giving out the name brand, or are you giving out the one that looks like a peanut and it's just like, it's like, here you go, kids? What do you guys do?
I just purge candy from work and just hand it out whatever I can get. But typically they'll have the name brand. It's just the mixed bags, the ones you get at the store with the fun size that are about $20 a bag, which is
They're not really fun
insane.
Size. It's no fun size.
Yeah, right. The
you eat
mini
exactly
crunch bar, but they're going to be name brand, but it's the first thing that you see at Walmart. But nowadays I found a loophole because we have our fall festival and there's candy from last year's fall festival that lasted us till May, so they're desperate to give it away. So yeah, I've decided to cut costs. Don't have to walk into like Wally World or anything like that, and it's the typical crunch Butterfingers that you alluded to. But yeah, the Kit Kat, I usually put those up top, and then those go away and leave the Snickers, the Milky Ways, the Twix at the bottom. So I try to get those left over. Anything with caramel or nut in it, I try to keep it for me.
You do what in it? You nut in it?
Well, that's
you'd like that, Adam.
That's a Diddy's house on Halloween. That's what
nice
they do.
try, Diddy.
Oil it up. Who wants some baby oil? Yeah, in my neighborhood, we don't have a lot of kids, and they don't trick or treat. They go elsewhere. So we don't ever really have to fool with it. Now, before I lived out here, I was always kind of the same way as Miles. Like, I don't want to go out and spend a whole bunch of money, but I'm going to try to get those big value bags. It's got a lot of stuff, but I try not to go the crappy candy, because I remember as a kid going up and you're just like, oh, great, more candy corn. Oh, more of the, oh, great, more black licorice.
Sour apple with the fake caramel melted on top of it. That sucker.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that stuff. So yeah, I would try to go Butterfingers, Skittles, Snickers, that kind of stuff.
The real,
never the full candy bar. Never the full candy bar. There are some people are notoriously known for that. Where we take my son to trick or treat every year, there's a house that full candy bars, and you just hear kids running. They're like, "This house down here has full bars," and they're like, "Ah!" And it's an army of kids like running to the house,
Yeah,
now, Adam. But then do you even give out candy? You don't have kids, so do you even bother?
No, Adam turns the light out. He's like,
absolutely. It's a regular day. Today is Thursday. I'm gonna watch football later. I'm gonna check the other games. I don't know what to tell you.
Now, I do have a question for you guys, and you guys grew up in different decades than I did, but when I was growing up in the 90s, early 2000s, my parents were adamant about checking all the candy, making sure nothing was unwrapped, make sure there was no razor blades in there or Glock 17 stuck in there.
That is just Mary.
No, come on.
Or Titans tickets, or Titans tickets,
That'd be horrifying.
Somebody broke in my car.
That was a big deal during the 90s. That was not just my household. People were paranoid of people slipping in like methamphetamine into kids' candy. Like a mini Twix bar.
It's the Dungeons and Dragons devil worshippers. That's what happened. It had that whole craze. Yeah. Now, like I said, my mom was just like pretty hands off. Me and my buddies we'd dress up, we'd go to all the houses, then we'd come home and swap outfits or put on a different thing, go back out, hit them all up again, come back home, pile up all the candy in the floor, start divvying it up. And yeah, like there was never, and everybody was like, well, make sure that you don't have any, drugs in there. My mom would probably be like, if you do, give them to me,
Right.
Just kidding. But no, but
at least try them together.
But then what about the houses? What about the houses though? And you go up to, and it's like, please take one, and it's like a whole bucket. Like, oh man, I am majority of the time I obeyed the rules, but I'm not going to say I always did. I mean, there are sometimes I was like, oh man, these are mine. Next house, that's just being a kid. Sometimes you don't make good decisions, but I'm not the one who put the note out there and said, please take one. Cause
I'll tell you, for me, the jackpot house was the please take one, and it was full-size candy bars.
Yeah.
Like, that house was by 6:30, that place was cleaned out. So you knew what house it was. You were there by like 5:45. For us, that was 15 minutes before trick-or-treating started. But they put that out like 5:30, and they're like, all right, first come, first serve.
Yeah.
And they know it's going to be cleaned out. But we had that one house. Please take one full-size candy bars.
It was a doctor,
that's
a lawyer.
what everyone looked forward to. Yeah, right.
My mother-in-law gives out. She gives out drinks. She gives out candy, but she also gives out drinks, which I think is cool. Like she'll give out Capri Suns, juice boxes, and stuff and the kids love it. They're always like, "Oh, thank you," because you got to think about it, man. They're out there running around, they're eating candy, like they're not drinking anything. They're thirsty, and they get this house, and they're like, "Hey, we got drinks for you too, man." And I think that's such a good idea. Like my mother-in-law is like, she's like Susie Homemaker. I mean, she's in her 80s, but I mean, she is just like she thinks everything through, and the kids love it, and I think that's super cool. We go over there neighborhood a lot because. What'd you say?
Yeah, even better if they had drinks for the parents too.
Well, that's what I was about to say. So in that neighborhood where we go, where my wife grew up, it's where her parents live. There is a house. A couple of them like in a cul-de-sac where they kind of team up. And last year we went, and they were like, they had kegs, they had wine, they had hot dogs. They're like, "What do you want? Hot dog? You want a burger? Like, you want a beer?" And that was fantastic.
4th of July.
Yeah, 4th of July on Halloween, right? And it was just awesome, And I probably frequent that house about 3 times that night, It's like, "Hey, you got any more of those alcoholic beverages and hot dogs?"
Gotta have it. So, what about favorite Halloween movies? So, The Great Pumpkin, for me, and this concludes my list. I don't like, I remember I got tricked into seeing The Gate Part 2. I mean, dude.
Is that Stephen King, The Gate? What is that?
I don't even know. It might have been like a hand-me-down horror. It was called The Gate. And it was the second one. So it was The Gate 2. And I'm like, dude, I'm not watching this. Like, I just don't get into it.
Did you watch The Gate 1? You shouldn't have been watching The Gate 2 if you hadn't seen The Gate 1. You don't know what happened to The Gate. You don't know why The Gate is The Gate.
Right. Just close the gate.
I, on the other hand, do like scary movies. I have always liked scary movies. I've always, I love feeling uncomfortable. I love feeling that just like creepiness. Like, it doesn't matter whether it's growing up. It was the Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th. I mean, even Scream. I mean, I remember going to see Scream, and I was when I left the movie, I was legitimately like freaked out. And as soon as I walked out of the theater, my phone rang and I jumped, and I just recently started driving. I was 16, and it was Scream was great, but I mean, yeah, I'll always go for scary movies. I mean, I think my favorite franchise of probably the monsters are, I know everybody likes the Halloween stuff, but I just like Freddy, man. I just always thought Freddy was so ridiculous and like funny and just offensive and just weird and just no offense to Wes Craven, rest in peace, but just dumb. I mean, it really is dumb. Friday the 13th, it's a guy at a campsite, it's like, okay, but Freddy comes to you in your dreams, and like all the crazy deaths and stuff. Like, I just always thought the movies were so corny. So it was hard for me to be scared when they were so silly, And there's like the one where he's like scraping his claws on the chalkboard, and it's like a classroom. Like, to this day, like I hear that, and every time I hear that noise, I just cringe, and it's like everybody can't stand that noise. So Wes Craven was like, well, why not have Freddy doing that in a kid's dream in a movie? Like, that's just dumb, right? But we all loved it. It's the 80s, I don't know if Freddy Krueger will work today. I don't know, because the horror movies today are just way too intense. Like, they try to make them, there's not a lot of like fantasy to it. It's just complete, like the movie The Strangers, like I was talking about. I mean, that's based on a real series of events, where people are just showing up at people's random houses and killing people. Like, that's crazy, Right. Like, I watched one last night. It was so stupid, so awful. I should have known, because it was M. Night Shyamalan. M. Night Shyamalan. But it's called Trap. Oh, so stupid. So stupid. It's Josh Brolin, and it's like he's at a pop star concert, and then there's this event that's going down, and I don't want to ruin it for people to watch it, but like, yeah, it's so stupid. I was sitting here watching.
You don't have to ruin it. M. Night Shyamalan already ruined it, so you're fine.
It's like he and you're waiting for the twist, and you're just like, that's a twist, all right, dude, But it's so stupid. I actually texted my buddy earlier, who is equally as into scary movies as me. And I was like, dude, I watched The Trap last night, and I don't even know how this dude keeps making movies. And he was like, man, I literally watched it last night too. And he was like, I was telling myself the whole time, like, how is this even a movie? So it's so stupid. But Josh Hartnett,
from Black Hawk Down.
So you haven't seen him in a while. So that was interesting because his character was fucking really crazy, but not a good movie. Not recommended, So it recommended if you want to laugh. If you want to laugh and be like, how is this a movie? Watch it. But yeah, not very scary.
What is recommended is always that you follow us on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, X, wherever you get your social media, follow at Sports Idiot Nation. Remember that new episodes are always found on Apple, Spotify, and of course, the usual suspect is YouTube, where we have a ton of subscribers. We're talking all things Halloween. So Miles, do you have any memories of good Halloween parties? Because that's one thing that I was thinking, like, okay, I'm not into movies. I don't really pass out the candy. Like, it's like, But now I will say I have been to some pretty dope Halloween parties, of kind of dressing up, but kind of just looking for the girls who are dressed in, like, it's their excuse to, like, look slutty.
I know, man.
Right. Well,
they're
like
1 year.
you,
They're
like,
one night a year to just do whatever they want.
They could do a 365 for all weekend. You're allowed. We're inclusive here. But I'm kind of like you, Adam. I'm not huge into the movies. Like, yeah, Charlie Brown and the Great Pumpkin Patch absolutely slaps. And I like The Shining, and I just kind of got into Scream just this last year. And I like Saw movies. But beyond that, I was always more into the candy. I still am, of course. And then the parties, like, as I got older and my view of Halloween started to, like, evolve more, as I realized I was definitely heterosexual. I definitely didn't really care too much about it in high school because we're still kids. Like, no one's actually hosting a party without their parents still there or lingering about somewhere where you are afraid they're gonna, outjumps the enemy type thing. So I think in college, going to a Big Ten school, obviously that was a good time, for sure. But even after that, like when you and I started hanging out, like with adults and just kind of being able to do our thing and not looking over our shoulder, was good. But Halloween for me is not like a night to like go either bar hopping or even party hopping because people are going to be out being idiots. But just kind of like hanging around, like just kind of with our friend group that we had, back whatever 8-10 years ago. Those are kind of the best because we just like do whatever we want. Everyone knew everyone. So I think those just kind of flowed better, and that kind of made it more enjoyable because overall I'm not huge into Halloween, more into the Christmas side of it. So here in a little less than 2 months, things are going to really pump up in my house. But I just liked it more when we kept it a little bit smaller. It was just kind of us, more of it. But yeah, there was fun times in college too. There's no doubt about that.
I didn't go to any
Halloween parties at MTSU.
I didn't go to any Halloween parties at MTSU. I only lived on campus for the first year, and I commuted for the rest of my time there. The MTSU is known as a suitcase college. A lot of kids do. So most of my Halloween parties were probably local, but I've been to a few of them. A couple of them really good, memorable. One party went to, my wife and I, well, we weren't married yet. It was my girlfriend at the time. We went as Mario and Princess Peach, and that was a lot of fun. There was 30, 40 people at his house, and everybody was, you name it, they were doing it. I mean, every kind of alcohol you could think of, like you had DJs, like it was a good time. And then the next year, we went to another party and we almost died. Our Uber driver almost killed us. Legitimately,
like just like his set right there, Adam. You almost died.
Like, holy cow.
We were very lucky. My wife and I that night, we went as Al and Peg Bundy, which was a fantastic costume. I kind of just looked like myself because I was like, well, I'm just wearing the jacket and shirt. But she pulled it off great. She had the full wig. She had the the leopard like tights like Peggy wears. I mean, she had it. She looked just like her. She's great. But we took this Uber from the party to like a bar, and this dude was just wild. And I was like, I just had this feeling. I was like, I don't think this is going to end well, and he was driving this minivan. We were all piled in it, and he was just flying. And at one point there was a lot of traffic, and he basically made his own lane and started flying through these people. And we came so close to hitting, I don't know if it's a telephone, I can't remember what it was. And he swerved out of the way. Everybody freaked out. I was just completely silent in the back, and it was silent for about 5 minutes. And then finally I was like, well, that was pretty fucking cool, and everybody started laughing. But I am not kidding, man. I still talk about it with my buddy Shane, and I'm like, you remember that night that we almost died? He was dressed up as a zombie that night too, and I was like, you almost died dressed up as a zombie, and I almost died dressed up as Al Bundy. Like,
so that sparks a memory for me. My junior year of college, I was DK. My girlfriend at the time was Princess Peach, and we had the entire Mario Kart crew. So
Peaches.
No one almost died in an accident. We didn't actually race, but we all had like cardboard cutouts for like boxes, and that was great because that was the first year for like all of us. We were 21, so that was more enjoyable. But we had Mario, Luigi, one of my buddies who I believe won as Luigi. His sister was a mushroom.
Toadette?
Toad.
Yeah.
And we had Wario there. God, who else did we give me some other Yoshi? Someone was Yoshi's egg. Just their costume was just Yoshi's egg. Like
Waluigi.
It was lit. There was like 12 or like 14 of us that were Mario Kart characters. So that you sparked my memory there. Yeah, junior year of college. That was a great party. We definitely rocked it. That was squad goals accomplished right there.
What about I don't know about how you guys were growing up. We had parents that were in on the fun, and we had targets every Halloween. But once we got a little past the trick or treating, it was toilet paper. It was rolling people's houses and going and doing that. And we would get our principal, we'd get the vice principal, we would get certain teachers. Like my friend's mom would drive us around like a guerrilla unit, like in this lights out, and we would pull up at the end of like cul-de-sacs and stuff, and we'd full black. Bags of toilet paper. I mean, we were experts at it. We didn't do the egging. I thought that was tacky. I thought the people that did the egging was tacky because, man, you egg somebody's car and they don't know, man, it ruins their paint and stuff. And I was just always like, that's kind of lame. But toilet paper to me was a pain to get out of your trees, especially if it rained and stuff. But it was like a rite of passage for me. It was kind of like, I remember the first time I got rolled, I was like, oh, they finally got me, because I would wait, I'd look, I'd wait, try to catch them. I'd try to, we'd hide out in the front yard and chase them out and stuff. It was almost like you had rival units trying to get each other. So that was from about age 14 to 17 or so. That was a pretty regular thing on Halloween for me. And you go to the store, just like 10 of you, and you're all buying like about 8 rolls of toilet paper. I mean, eight things of rolls of toilet paper, and they're just like, oh, you guys been eating some Mexican food, or you had other plans tonight, I mean, it's like they know what you're doing, but hell, I mean, it's not illegal to throw toilet paper on somebody's tree, but you just used to think that you're a kid. You think you're going to get in so much trouble. And it's like, but back today, you might not want to do it. Somebody might shoot you,
Right. We know in Tennessee, it's definitely not illegal.
I felt threatened. Felt my life was threatened. So I pulled him on my property and shot him.
I'll never do it again.
Stand your ground.
Yeah, stand your ground. That's right. Don't be rolling people's houses in Florida.
Wearing an ankle bracelet.
But yeah, that was pretty much, it's pretty much kind of what we did. But I mean, I lived in a real small town, man. I grew up part of my life in Bellevue here and then part of it in Cheatham County in Pegram, which is a very small town. I mean, my neighborhood had 3 roads and, maybe like 30 houses. I mean, it was really small,
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world.
Pretty much.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Again, remember to follow us at Sports Idiot Nation, wherever you get your social media, as well as like and subscribe to Apple and Spotify, the most fun way to watch is on YouTube. Be a part of the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people who have subscribed to the YouTube channel. New episodes, remember.
You really do like us.
You really love us, yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, new episodes are here for you every Thursday and Monday. Happy Halloween. Don't check for razor blades in your kids' candy because I'm sure they'll be fine.
It's a myth. It's a myth.
Don't feed these guys after midnight and don't get them wet.
And don't fall asleep. Let's just go rapid fire. What are all the things? Don't fall asleep. Don't
fall asleep. What a terrible premise. I mean, for Freddy, like, don't fall asleep. Well, never again.
Well, yeah.
Don't hide in a barn full of chainsaws because someone's going to take it and Texas Chainsaw Massacre you.
Don't say I'll be right back. Don't say that.
Don't hang out with clowns.
Don't be the token black character in the movie because you will be the first one taken out.
You won't make it
unless it's LL Cool J.
Don't have sex.
Unless it's LL Cool J. Yeah, that's right. Don't have sex. Don't camp out. Don't camp out. Don't
answer the phone.
Yeah, and don't open any creepy boxes. You might release Pinhead. Don't open any creepy boxes that you probably think something's bad in it.
So just don't breathe. However, hit subscribe on YouTube and follow us at Sports Idiot Nation, and we will see you Monday.
Remember to breathe.
Okay, all you sinners, follow Sports Idiot Nation on TikTok, X, and Instagram. Like us on Facebook, and remember, the most fun way to watch us is on YouTube every Monday and Thursday. Be sure to hit the notification bell so you can be updated when new content drops. Remember, the podcast can also be found on the usual suspects of Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Always remember, don't be an idiot.
Sinner.